Welcome. Thank you for lending an ear to the Voice of the Times for Wednesday, July 27, 2022. For today's editorial, Thinking Bigger in MSME Development. In our editorial several weeks ago, we made a case for governments reassessing its strategy towards micro, small, and medium enterprise or MSME development. Our argument at the time was that in order to maximize entrepreneurship in a manner similar to excellent examples such as Singapore and Israel, government policy should move away from championing cottage industries and self-employment and find ways to promote enterprise growth, innovation, and positive market disruption. Two recent analyses tend to confirm that thinking bigger in MSME development is the right course. The first was a report titled Bridging the Gap, Unlocking Synergies Between Private Sector Development and Development Finance, which was published in April by British International Investment or BII and Gatsby Africa. The second was a study released several days ago by the Philippine Institute of Development Studies or PIDS that analyzed the impact of the Generalized Scheme of Preferences Plus or GSP Plus tariff scheme applied to the Philippines by the European Union. The PIDS study illustrates the flaw in the long-standing government policy toward MSMEs. In spite of the objective to provide greater export market opportunities to smaller enterprises, the study found that most of the GSP Plus benefits are being captured by larger ones. Even more alarming, the implication is that GSP Plus in some ways works against MSMEs because it has resulted in lower prices for many export goods, and this impact particularly affects goods that are produced in small volumes by small businesses. Where export inclusivity increased, it was largely in agriculture-based, low-productivity sectors, the study said. Thus, the value gain for the economy has been modest. The PIDS study attributed the larger cause of the unmet expectations of the GSP Plus arrangement to the country's anti-developmental state, which includes characteristics such as the country's reliance on imports, private consumption, foreign investment, and economic zones, challenges to the expansion of capacity of the country's exporters, difficulties with the development of the country's local supply chains and infrastructure, and disparities in income and political power. The message here is that while the benefits of the GSP Plus are available, government has yet to implement policies which would implicitly involve significant changes to the country's overall economic orientation to take advantage of them, making the assertion that the GSP Plus would help Filipino small businesses a hollow claim. The Bill Gatsby report provides some clues as to how this could be overcome and supports this with case studies of successful application of the ideas in Africa. The report's thesis, distilled to the simplest terms possible, is this: the economy of almost every country in the world is driven by the private sector. But when governments look to development finance sources to improve and grow, they usually think in terms of the public sector. Thus, development assistance tends to be directed toward things like infrastructure, social concerns at the public level such as health and education, governance and administrative capacity building, and so on. If, on the other hand, governments looked more toward using development finance assistance to expand the private sector, growing small businesses into large ones, many of the institutional and social challenges they seek to address would be solved, or at least greatly reduced. The main challenge, which has been glaringly illustrated by the Philippine Bank's steadfast refusal to abide by the 10% lending mandate in the Magna Carta for MSMEs law, finding it less costly to routinely pay the penalties for noncompliance, is investment risk. MSMEs are considered high risk from a lending point of view, and that risk is not easily mitigated, so they continue to miss out on the resources that would help them grow. The solution to that problem, the report contends, and very convincingly, is to find lenders or investors who have a more flexible risk appetite, or in other words, are more willing to gamble on private enterprises whose potential growth would meet larger economic and social goals. That investment can be found among development finance institutions. Not for nothing do major institutions such as the ADB and the World Bank maintain well-staffed and experienced private sector departments. As the new administration embarks on its quest to see how it can improve the Philippines, this opportunity to facilitate substantial growth should be considered carefully. And that's the editorial for Thursday, July 27, 2022. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print. Subscribe to its digital edition or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. And listen to the Voice of the Times.
Our longest trusted English newspaper since 1898. Now available digitally. Computer. Order the Manila Times Digital Edition. Subscribed. Get the Manila Times Digital Edition for less than 2 pesos and 50 centavos per day when you sign up for 1 year. The Manila Times, news source of choice, trusted since 1898.